All right, everyone, welcome to the Generational Run podcast. I'm your host, Mads. Today I'm back with a very special guest. She was the first person to come on this podcast, the recorded version, but I loved it so much that I asked her to come back live. So, welcome back, Molly.
Hey, we loved it. We loved it. So I said, let's run it back. And Matt said, let's go live. And I said, let's go live. So that's what we're doing right now.
I was terrified the first time. I was like, Molly, we're not going live. We need to record this because
Beautiful.
it's just too
Mhm.
scary.
Yeah.
Um, But we decided that we are going to talk about the Yankees and the Mets off seasons, even though we really haven't done that much. If you guys have questions or anything or comments, feel free to post them. All right, so how do you feel about the Mets? Because the Yankees have done nothing, so I need to ask you.
Okay. So these last couple of, we'll call them months, have been very interesting to be a Met fan. It's almost like, oh my God, my phone is just loud. Um, It's almost like I equate it to when everything went down, it was a lot in the moment. Like you could have easily gone on the Mets Twitter and just seen everyone screaming and losing their minds and going crazy. I was part of that crowd, but for probably a grand total of 5 minutes, just because I was upset because, you thought these guys who were going to be Mets for life. Like you're telling me you would not look at someone like Pete Alonso and Brandon Nimmo and be like, okay, those people, they are Mets for life. They embody what this organization is and what they love, what it is to be a New York Met in this current moment. And then they're gone. So it's a lot to kind of process in that moment. But there's a great tweet that Ben Verlander brought up that kind of changed my narrative on all of this. So I'll just read it out loud. In 2020, Steve Cohen took an organization that needed a real rebuild. That is a fact. He did the rebuild. He went from the 20th ranked farm system in 2020 to the first in just 5 years. And he did it still trying to win through a rebuild. That didn't happen. But now he realized the organization needed a shift. And a new feel did not want to pay Pete Alonso the highest AAV ever for a free agent. So now what you have is an organization with superstars on Francisco Lindor and Juan Soto, the number one farm system in Major League Baseball, and a lot of freed up money to spend to the richest owner in the MLB that wants to win. So Steve Cohen has something up his sleeve. And that changed my thought process on all of this because when you look at it through a different lens, we didn't win. It's that simple as that. The best we've done in this last 5 years was the postseason run back in 2024. Ever since then, unfortunately, you do have these great moments with Pete Alonso and that four quad and Jeff McNeil and all of them who did get traded away and we didn't sign back. There's a good reason why they didn't come back to the Mets because they weren't winning. Maybe it is time for a shift. Maybe it is time for a change because what we had wasn't working. So it needed to bring in this new era and this new shift. Maybe there is something that is out there. And also, the tweet's not wrong. Steve Cohen is the richest owner in baseball. He's got a lot of freed up money left to do whatever he wants with. There is so much room for possibility. Obviously, the name on everyone's mouth right now is Kyle Tucker. I love that. I think that'd be great for this team. I think you lose someone like Pete Alonso, you need another power hitter to support Juan Soto and Francisco Lindor. I think Kyle Tucker fits that narrative perfectly. I think that's pretty much a done deal unless I'm hearing other things. But I do think there is no reason to panic at the end of the day. I think there is a room for all of this to obviously have panic in your mind and freak out and say, why did we just trade away some of our
Yeah.
stars right now? But at the same time, I don't think everyone needs to freak out and panic right now. I think Steve Cohen has a plan. He has all the money in the world right now. He's not paying Pete Alonso the highest AAV in baseball right now. The biggest contract you have to worry about is Juan Soto's contract. Besides that, you have a lot of freed up money to do whatever you want. And that's pretty much my 2 cents.
I totally agree with you, and I think I was just shocked that they didn't even offer Pete Alonso money. I just, again, if as a fan you're thinking, oh my God, he's like the franchise player, he's going to be a Met for the rest of his life. But then from like a business standpoint, again, you're like, well, maybe they did need a change. Maybe something, wasn't working. They do need to find someone else. Um, and you know what? Like, I'm going to talk about the Yankees because they really haven't. done much. They haven't made a lot of signings, and everyone is saying, they're not going to do anything. They haven't done anything. I really do think that the moves they've made are very impactful. I think because we might not be signing a ton of people, but the people who we let go, the people who we got rid of, um, were people who made the team worse. You know, um, like I mean, Devin Williams did not work out for us, and it's very obvious. And I hope that he really works out for you guys
No
because I think
flourishing queens.
he was amazing in Milwaukee, and it just did not translate to New York. So there's one person that, how many saves right there? How many more games would you have won if Devin Williams wasn't on the team? That's what I'm thinking about. And then you have Luke Weaver, who again, I hope that he does great things for you guys. He was injured this year. They brought him
Mhm.
back way too early, and it kind of messed up the flow of the rest of the season for him. But again, there's another person who, cost us some games who's no longer on the team. At the non-tender deadline, we, non-tendered Scott Efros and Jake Cousins, and I can't remember who the other two were. I'm like blanking, but we got rid of four pitchers who were hurting us.
Yeah.
So I think that you're not adding a ton of positives, but you're taking away a bunch of negatives, which I think is really helpful. Are we done? No, I don't think so. We just signed Ryan. We just traded for Ryan Weathers. I think um, we are going to trade for Freddie Peralta. I do think that that is something that is going to end up working out. And I hope that his talent translates to New York as well. So, like we will have the pitching depth. Um, the outfield is still a little bit uncertain, but it's the middle of January. We still don't know where Jason Dominguez is going, if he's staying. We don't know if Spencer Jones is coming up to, the big leagues or if
Yep.
he's being traded, or those are two guys that, they make up part of your outfield. You don't know, we don't know where they're going to be yet. So part of me thinks that, Brian Cashman is, I mean, I tend to give the benefit of the doubt, but part of me thinks Brian Cashman is working up a big trade. And if it means we're getting Freddie Peralta and that starting pitching, especially considering half of our pitching is injured for the first month or two of the year, I think I'd be totally fine giving up either Spencer Jones or Jason Dominguez or both, depending on, what we're getting in return. Um, but yeah, you have to look at it as like, you know, as a fan, you want them to make all of these moves. As the Yankees, I want them to sign Cody Bellinger. I wanted them to sign um, Tatsuya Imai. I wanted them to sign Kazuma Okamoto. I wanted them to sign all these people, which
Mhm.
they can't. So yeah, like if you look at it that way, yeah, you're disappointed because you want all these people and you're not getting them. But I trying to think of it as, you know what, we haven't made a lot of additions, but we've gotten rid of a bunch of people who have hurt us and
Yep.
who, cost us games. So I think that's worth it.
I mean, at the end of the day, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that is something. Let's also remember the successes that, you guys have. You what how many seasons in a row has there been a playoff run for the New York Yankees as of currently? Like,
Okay, so they didn't make the playoffs in 2023, but that was the first time I think they missed the playoffs in a long time. I don't
yeah,
know the exact years,
here you go.
but I think people tend to think of the Yankees as a playoff team,
I
which
I agree. Like I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I think if everyone's waiting for this big blockbuster move for that, I think that's kind of a little bit far-fetched if you're asking me, because those big blockbuster moves for those big blockbuster guys, they've already been picked up. The Yankees could have made a move on Edwin Diaz. They could have made a move on Pete Alonso. They
right.
could have made a move on who else am I thinking of? I don't know. They couldn't there was another big trade that I freaked out about. I remember I was in class and like I remember screaming and it was a whole thing. Um
Yeah, I'm
and
not sure.
I don't really remember. But the Yankees could have made a move on those guys. They had all the opportunities in the world and they didn't.
Right.
And I think that is also showing of the belief that your front office has in the people that in the rotation they have right now. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I feel like that's the fifth time I've said that. But also, baseball's on a ticking, it's this sport is one of the fastest moving sports there is in terms of picking up people and just how quick things can happen. even though the season is so long, the offseason moves so quickly and everything is done so quick and so fast. And you have to utilize that to your advantage. And it seems like the Yankees just aren't doing that, if you want to be honest with you. But if they are fine with the people that they have right now, then go get them.
Yeah, and I think and I mean like I'm always going to be mad at Devin Williams for like the beginning of that season. Um but even just like one of those saves, if he didn't blow it, like we would have finished first in the division.
Hmm.
Like it really does come down to that very that one game. And people
Yeah.
hate it when in April we lose a game and people are on Twitter saying, "Oh my God, this team sucks. We lost a game. Like we're not going to make a playoff run." And everyone's like, "It's just one game." That
Hmm.
one game cost us the number one team in the division.
Yeah.
So, like it really it's every single game counts, every single move counts. But, you know, the Yankees they're serious about Cody Bellinger. Before the season ended, they were kind of serious about Kyle Tucker. Um, but all of these names that you're hearing that the Yankees are in on or the Mets are in on, none of them have gone yet.
Yep.
So that kind of gives me hope that, they really are trying to work out a deal with some of these guys. Um, because Kyle Schwarber went, but we were never in on Kyle Schwarber. So yes, that was huge because he was, a big free agent this year. And I mean, like compared to last year, they're not nearly as big, I think. But we're in on Bichette. He hasn't signed yet. Um, who else? Edwin Diaz. I don't really think we were like 100% in on him, so I wasn't
Hmm.
disappointed that they didn't sign him because it's not like they lost to a different team. It's they didn't even offer in the first place.
Oh, they were up
Um,
against the Dodgers.
again,
Who's gonna beat the Dodgers?
who's gonna beat the Dodgers?
I may be a fan of, my my lovely New York Mets, but I know we are always gonna get beat by the Dodgers. It's a little
Yeah, I mean it's just it just comes with the territory, I think.
comes with love
But you
my
know what? None of these big free agents who the Yankees have been connected to by either John Heyman or Mark Feinsand or Ken Rosenthal, none of these people have signed yet.
yeah.
So I do suspect that in the next, I would hope, week and a half, I do think the Bellinger sweepstakes are coming to a close. Um, but we'll see. And then I think once that first domino falls, whether it's Cody Bellinger, Kyle Tucker, whoever, I think the rest are going to go pretty quickly after.
What are
Um,
your thoughts on Bichette? I'm curious. I've heard through my Red Sox fans that that they're heavy on him. So what are your thoughts on that?
so I wouldn't be mad if the Yankees were to sign him. Would I be thrilled? Either no, um, because they already said it's been confirmed that if the Yankees were to sign Bichette, he would not be a shortstop.
Hmm.
He would be a second baseman. But then you say, oh, well, what are you going to do with Jazz Chisholm? He can't play third. We experienced that last year with, DJ LeMahieu refused to play anything other than second, which forced Jazz to play third base. It
Hmm.
was it was a nightmare. Like it was a literal dumpster fire. Um, so if you sign Bichette to play second, that means what are you going to do with Jazz? That makes me think that they're going to try to trade Jazz. And his value is super high right now. He hit 30-30 last season. I can't see them trading him. I don't think they'll extend him if I'm being completely honest with you. But I do think, like, I don't think they would trade him at this
Yeah.
time, even though the value is pretty high on him. So, I mean, if we sign Bichette, I think that other moves would follow pretty immediately
Hmm.
because he's not going to play shortstop. I could see if they said, oh, Bo Bichette's going to play shortstop and replace Anthony Volpe. That to me would make sense, even though, like, defensively, Bichette isn't that much better than Volpe. He's better, but he's not, worlds better.
Yeah.
Um, So I don't see it happening. If it does, clearly Brian Cashman has a plan, you know.
Yeah, I
But
gotcha.
I don't know. I think we're more inclined to sign Cody Bellinger, and I do think I don't know if you saw the tweet about it that the Yankees are operating under the idea that Cody's going to sign elsewhere because Scott Boras won't lower the years on the
Hmm.
deal. He wants 7 years. The Yankees only want to give him 5. And to me, I even think 5 is a lot. But I think that coming out publicly and saying, okay, the Yankees offered this much money for 5 years, but Scott Boras doesn't want to, except Scott Boras wants 7 years. Um, I I think that it was a mind game. I think Cody Bellinger is going to be a Yankee. Are we going to make any moves after that? I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess we'll
I
probably probably
from
not.
from the
Maybe.
tone of what I've been hearing from you and the limited knowledge I have from my other Yankee fan friends who are very deep in the process as well, it sounds like that this is going to be the move.
Right. I
And
think maybe
I
we'll trade for a starter in addition to that, but nothing that would be it.
and I mean, I think the one thing that I am a little curious if I were, going I want to back to my Mets. Um one thing I am curious about is that if there is going to be like a the move. I don't even
Right.
think, are we considering Kyle Tucker the move? Sure. Awesome. Fantastic. But I just think, there was the opportunity to make the move and the Mets were more focused on obviously restructuring their entire core. And if that's going to be the move for the offseason, some fans are going to have to wrap their heads around that because there are some fans right now who think that that was a not smart decision. And listen,
Right.
was I on their side? Um was I on their side a while back? Maybe, but right now, if that's the move and the vision that we need to make in a restructure, that is kind of the facts and what needs to happen right now. There's a reason why we have that. The only good postseason run we've had so far was 2024. It's because there's obviously something not right. There's a need to win, there's a want to win, and the fact that we haven't gotten that with those guys shows that maybe it was time for a change. And is there times to still make a move? Maybe, but was the move maybe this reculturing shift? Possibly.
Yeah, I agree. I really like this comment because it is highly controversial, but he's right. You do need 8 to 9 starters because people get injured and they start to wear out by the All-Star break. Um, Especially the Yankees, they just can't keep pitchers. It's just so bad. Um, so I mean, honestly, I do feel really good about the fact that Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon aren't going to start the season with us. As
Mhm.
much as I love both of them, I mean, like Carlos is my guy. Like he's my favorite pitcher. Absolutely love him. Um, if they're not coming back till May, June, that means they've got a little bit extra. They can go a little bit longer into
Yeah.
the season. Where if you can, if you have a solid three, if you have Cam Schlittler, you have Max Fried, you have Will Warren, Luis Heel. That's 4 guys right there you can count on. If you can
Mhm.
get through those, if those 4 guys can get you through to June with, that fifth starter being maybe some guy from AAA, maybe, it rotates every 5 days. It's someone different. If those 4 guys plus that extra fifth, whoever that happens to be, if they can get you to June and then Garrett Cole and Carlos Rodon come back, I think we'll be golden.
Yeah. There
I
you go.
think the pitching always fails in June. I mean, I think it's a New York thing. Once June 1st hits,
There's something
they
happens.
just it's a 200 game losing streak until August. It's
Mhm.
just
Then we lock in.
it's
It's very funny.
and then they
Maybe
lock in at the end.
it's
A
the heat.
lot of it is the pitching though. Like that is what it comes down to. I mean, yes, the bats are dead, but the pitching is also giving up 20 runs a game. You can't
Yeah.
have that.
Mhm. I'm interested to see what this new bullpen's going to look like for the New York Mets because has been a lot of changes. There are I think we've got 4 guys coming in that are going to become part of this regular rotation that I'm really interested to see how it all works out because I mean, I haven't watched a lot of Devin Williams and Luke Weaver in my life just because I have not watched a lot of Yankees baseball in my life, but I'm really interested to see how it all comes together because I think that's one of the big things Mets fans have been looking for, and that's one of the big things they are going to be looking for this season, is because with the departure of Edwin Diaz, that is a huge thing that a lot of Mets fans are worried about. I was more worried about, honestly, the departure of
Yeah.
Edwin Diaz versus the departure of Pete Alonso, just because Edwin Diaz is just this constant force that was always going to work on the Mets side. And the fact
Yeah.
that we don't have that anymore, that's something that I'm honestly really interested to see what it all plays out to look like. What is it going to look like now? So,
I mean, yeah, I don't know how true this is for the Mets, but I think the Yankees organization also, if they make a mistake, if they fumble a play, they get, patted on the back and said, it's okay, you'll get them next time. It's the discipline. There's no discipline, there's no accountability, I think, also, which it does make it worse. And it's a domino effect. Things just start going wrong and things keep going wrong.
Mhm.
But I mean, I think pitching in New York in general, just like just like oil and water, they just
Yes,
don't
there you
mix.
go. I've found that I remember, was it last season before like a slight? No, it was in 2024. Before it was in 2024. It was after the 0-5 start. The ballpark was empty. There was a tweet that went out saying that there was a players only meeting called, and that's when it flipped. So it was this whole, the this, when back in 2023, when it was like, no, 2024, excuse me, as I said, like 0-5, lost on opening day in front of an entire huge crowd, what did not look good, anything like that. And then I believe it was Jeff McNeil who called a players only meeting, and it was just the team in the clubhouse, and then it flipped, and it was the beginning of the OMGs and all the craziness and grimace
Mhm.
and all that, fun stuff. So as I've said on this format earlier, there's not a lot that's going to be able to replicate the magic of that 2024 season. I think I'll just stand by that for a lot of times in my life.
That was a special year for sure for
Mhm.
both of us.
For both of us. So I think, you know, now the priority is somehow replicating that magic, and whether it, half of the magic probably just came from vibes, if you want to be honest with you. Probably
Mhm.
just pure vibes,
But you
and
know what? It helps.
it helps. That's such a huge thing too, because we both, I think this is also interesting to me. My journalist brain's gonna come on for a second, so bear with me, guys. The reason why I have a very strong inkling why the Mets kind of went through a lot of change and departures this year. The New York media market and playing in a New York market is so difficult. I'm telling you this as a journalist myself who wants to eventually work in the New York market one day. The New York market is brutal. People get on social media, whether you're a journalist on a morning radio show, a fan on Twitter, or a columnist at the New York Post, and rip you to shreds.
Yeah,
And they don't even bat an eye at it. So it's not easy. It is not easy to be a professional athlete, not just a baseball player, a professional athlete playing in the New York market. And I think that's something a lot of players are starting to take into account now when they're reassessing things, or they're even looking at New York and as a opportunity or a place as well that they want to go to. It takes a special person, and you have to have a lot of thick skin to play and do well, and then
right.
ignore the noise in the New York media market. And I think I think it's really interesting too, because you think of a lot of those guys, especially from the Mets, who did depart this year. Those were the guys who were constantly in those columns, in those podcasts, in those radio shows, in those articles, who were getting ripped to shreds. Like, you're going to tell
Yeah.
me that, for example, morning after a Met game, Edwin Diaz doesn't make the save, and the Mets lost. You go on any sort of morning radio show and they are ripping the Mets apart.
Yes.
You're ripping Edwin Diaz apart. And that stands for the Yankees as well too. So I think it's really interesting to also take that into account too, and maybe have that be a part of why there was so much noise and chatter about everything. And it also showed when the whole reaction went off and it was so loud. That proves even more that it is very difficult to do well in this New York market. Okay,
Right. It
that's
takes a very certain type of person to
Mhm,
be able to do that. I mean, obviously you've seen like failed Yankees who everyone was
mhm,
like, they're gonna be the next this, they're gonna be the next Derek Jeter, the next Aaron Judge, whoever, I don't care.
mhm.
And they come up and they just can't put up numbers. They
Yeah.
can't. They can't pitch. They can't hit. They can't field. It's just like it is. It's the bright lights. And I think someone like you could use Jazz Chisholm as an example. He used to play
Mhm,
for the Marlins. He came to New York. He thrives in that environment. Some people absolutely thrive in that environment. Am I saying that Jazz, comes up and hits a home run every time he's at bat? No, absolutely not. Because a lot of times he's trying to absolutely kill the ball and, send it into outer space and he swings and misses. He swings it, pitches over his head, down at his feet. It's like he's just trying to, hit. He's just trying to kill it. But he doesn't let those comments stop him. He will get on social media and he will troll later. And the posts are only up for a few hours before he takes them down or his PR manager takes it down. I don't know who's doing it, but he thrives on that kind of energy and he feeds off of the people who are attacking him saying, okay, well, you can't play in New York, you're not built for New York. And he's like, you try playing in New York. It's not easy, but I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's where I stand on this. We have about 5 minutes left, so let's get in our final
Got it. Mm-hmm.
thoughts. One move you think the Mets are going to make before spring training starts?
Great question. I think Kyle Tucker. I think that's going to happen. I think he's going to be in Queens, and I'd like one more good addition to a Mets bullpen. I'd like that.
That sounds. I feel like that's attainable too. Like that's
I
not
think
like
that's very attainable. That's the best
no, it
part.
should be. It should be.
Very attainable. I think it's very attainable, and I think it's very much a possibility. And I just, staying realistic, especially as we are so close to spring training when there are not a lot of options left. I
Right.
think that is kind of where we need to head.
Yeah. I think for me it would be Cody Bellinger, and I think clearly Brian Cashman does not want to sign a free agent. He has his heart set on trading for a starter. I do think we get Freddie Peralta. What does it
Mhm.
cost? I don't really care at this point. We need pitching. We have a
Very good.
million starters though, so I have a feeling a bunch of those starters are going to end up in the bullpen anyway. So I think it's better to acquire more starters than
Mhm.
not have enough and just have a million bullpen guys who, give up 20 runs every time they're up. Um, so I think my move would be Cody Bellinger and then trade for a starting pitcher, hopefully Freddie Peralta. I think he would be a really good fit in New York.
Yeah.
Um, and I have a feeling that once Cody signs, hopefully by the end of the weekend, maybe end of next week at the very, very latest, because I mean, how long are you going to drag this out? He has offers on the table, so I really don't think it's going to be that much longer. Um, I think once Cody Bellinger goes, the rest of the guys they're going to fly off the market.
Mhm.
So I think whatever deals Cashman is making and whatever deals Steve Cohen is making right now, they need to be ready to, pounce when it's time because once that first guy goes, whether it is Cody or maybe it will be Kyle Tucker, I have no idea. I think it
Yeah.
could go either way. Once that first guy goes, everyone's going to be gone by the end of that week.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I gotcha.
So, but we shall see.
Yeah, we shall.
Um, do we have any more comments too? No, I don't think. All right, I think we're gonna call it here. It was great to have you on again.
Thank
Kind
you.
of short notice, but I appreciate it.
Of
And we'll be
course.
sure to get you on again during baseball
Right.
season when
When it's
our
baseball.
teams are actually doing something.
And we're
Maybe
actually
after maybe after a Subway series.
playing. That'd be fun.
We can dissect a
I'll
Subway
be in,
series.
yeah, that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think that'll be great. For those of you watching, I will post this on YouTube either later tonight or tomorrow so you guys can watch the full thing if you missed it. Be sure to follow me and the Generational Run podcast on Twitter and give Molly a follow as well. She has both of her accounts up there. And we will see you next time. Bye.